final very easily, 18-5. But in 1994, White came as close as he'll probably ever get to achieving his life's ambition. Hendry was in pain. He chipped a bone in his left elbow in a fall in his hotel bathroom. That arm was in a sling when he wasn't actually playing, but White couldn't nail him. The match ran the full 35 frames, and White was to have a great chance to claim the decider and his longed-for world title.
But he's got to the final taking these difficult reds, and he's in the last frame of the final, so who's to say he's not right?
What a shot he's taking on.
Well, the crowd knew this one was in before we did, Dennis. What a wonderful shot.
But the pace he played it at.
Twenty-three. $28. 29. 29.
Well, did he see the title there, Dennis?
Dear me, that was just a little bit of tension. But everybody's tense. Well, he'd miss one of those in 30.
One. Eight. Nine.
Well, he keeps leaving himself the reds into the middle pocket.
16.
As much a test of nerve now as skill.
Before he played that shot, I was going to say he's missed quite a number of shots with the rest. He doesn't usually. That one only just wriggled in and forced a smile
23.
from Stephen Hendry.
Well, you saw Jimmy's face then. No explanation needed.
Yes, Red, would be a terrible shame for Jimmy White if he was to lose this frame, having missed a black
30.
that he would never miss in 100 years. You can't take it away from
31.
this gentleman at the table. Nerves of steel. What's going to happen?
Well, he's proved that he's got it when it was needed. He's proved it in the past. And once again, this evening.
Well, Ray, I'm delighted for Stephen Hendry, but I could cry for this gentleman sitting in the chair there.
Yes, he carries the weight of so many people's hopes. And I'm sure many, as I did, thought that this year was going to be his. But not to take anything away from Jimmy's opponent, Stephen Hendry has proved once again that he's the best player in the world. He's Embassy World Championship. He's won by 18 frames to 17 in one of the best finals you're ever likely to see.
Well, it's quite strange, you know. Just hundreds of people I meet, they say, how do you miss that effing black and things like that? But, you know, it's just part of it. It's just, like Willie missed an easy blue once. It cost him a tournament in Preston. It's just one of those things. I think I just rushed it.
There was a rocket in my chair, the speed that I got from the chair. As soon as the black, I seen it wobbling in the jaws of the pocket, I was there. I was at the table. You know, that was, you know, it's a World Championship final. Although I was half resigned myself to the fact that he was clearing up to win the title, still there was that hope that if he missed, you know, I was ready. And you know, I really did get off. I couldn't get on my chair quick enough, and I was at the table probably before Jimmy sat down.
I don't know. I seem to be getting bashed up after every World Championship final. Like the summer, I'm sort of bashed through, you know, through losing. But I take it all in my stride, you know. And there's a lot worse things happening out there.
My job as a sportsman is to punish the mistakes my opponent makes, and Jimmy made a mistake, and I went to the table and I punished him for it. There's no room for feeling sorry from, you know, then. The next day when you read all the papers and you know, Jimmy's missed out again and that, then you start to think, well, it is, you know, it was hard on him, but certainly not. I don't feel sorry to the extent that, you know, I wish he'd won. You know, that's you know, that's my job. I'm a winner.
The 1990s was not simply a story of two players, Hendry and White, even if they did meet in 4 world finals. The money to be won on the circuit was constantly driving up the general standard, and as always, the cream rose to the top.
Well, the chances there for Ken Doherty.
Ken Doherty made 1997 a great year for the Irish at the Crucible, when Hendry awaited him in the final. Hendry made 5 centuries, but Doherty was much the more consistent and won 1812, Hendry's first defeat in a Crucible final.
1.
Well, Ken knocked out Steve Davis, 6 times world champion, earlier.
6.
Well, green, brown and blue. And the pubs around Dublin, the homes around Ireland. The atmosphere at this moment must be incredible.
The crowd know that was the vital one. And Ken knows it is. Lovely smile.
There's no better feeling in the world.
So Ken Doherty thoroughly deserves this Embassy World Championship title. He's a great friend of Stephen Hendry, and Stephen Hendry will be back, I'm sure, to claim his 7th. But at the moment...
Doherty was back in the final the following year, not against Hendry this time, but another Scot, John Higgins, who'd been in such form throughout the season that victory would not only give him the title, but the #1 ranking Hendry had held for 8 years. This was a championship in which Higgins made a record 14 centuries, including the break of 118 with which he clinched the title.
The supporters have been fantastic. A lot of Scottish fans, a lot of Irish fans. I'm sure they'll all celebrate together because this is a remarkable achievement, but Ken Doherty has put up a remarkable defence. 2 of the nicest players you could wish to meet. Just look at his face. There's nothing like this feeling.
75.
Sustained excellence. And now the possibility that John Higgins has clinched the title with yet another century. He's already set a new record of 13 for the championship, superseding Stephen Hendry's 12.
You might as well take the black, John. He doesn't need it. What a performance.
John Higgins clears with a break of 118. He beats the defending champion Ken Doherty by 18 frames to 12 to win the Embassy World Championship. His father embraces him, his mother has already embraced him. John Higgins, champion of the world and world #1. Ken Doherty, a worthy and sporting runner-up. The sporting public were now asking themselves if the age of Hendry was over. Did he still have the necessary desire, ambition, concentration and technique for the job? From the dreadful low point of a 9-0 early round defeat in the UK Championship, he was back at the Crucible 6 months later with his technique rebuilt and his attitude refocused. That's the great 72-year-old trophy that Stephen Hendry hopes to hold aloft in triumph in a few minutes. After beating Ronnie O'Sullivan 17-13 in a classic semi-final, Hendry pulled steadily away to beat another fast-rising star from the next generation, Mark Williams, 18-11 in the final.
Mind, we thought he was going to hold it all off in the previous frame before the mid-session interval, but Mark Williams pulled that one out of the fire. Is he going to get another chance, though?
Here's the man who beat the defending champion John Higgins when Higgins had looked unbeatable in the previous rounds.
32.
I can't play for the black this time, and he may have to nudge the pink on for the right centre, so he's got to get this one right. Well, in fact, he had enough angle to screw back for that blue. Just not sure about the two reds is to the right of the pink. If the one at the back of those two is available to the left corner, he's okay. He's still got the loose one to play for, though.
Has decided that he can't quite reach the potting angle on the back red, but was always going to have this one in reserve.
Well, he's almost straight on the black. So needs a lot of cue power here. Back off the cushion. Now this may be a better angle to get to that red.
58.
He's overdone it slightly. Still a bit to do. The cannon onto the pink, and it could be all over.
He's not going to miss from here. Just red and colour needed.
Well, Clive, we've had a marvellous Embassy World Championship here. We've had everything in this, and here we're finishing up with a great record.
We have indeed. 74. We've seen marvellous play from John Higgins, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Williams. But Stephen Hendry has come through. In the whole decade, he's only lost 3 times at the Crucible.
79.
Yes, a lot of people wrote this man off And he's a great ambassador for our game. And he's going to be a great world champion again.
Pink and black to finish with a century. Not too bothered about... Hendry's 7th world title was a record for the modern era, surpassing Ray Reardon's 6 in the 70s and Steve Davis's half-dozen in the 80s. It was no longer a matter of opinion, but of statistical record, who was the greatest of them all. For Stephen Hendry in the 90s. Stephen Hendry beats Mark Williams by 18 frames to 11 to win the Embassy World Championship. Mark Williams was the first world champion of the 21st century. He was down 15-11 to John Higgins in the semi-finals and beat him 17-15. In the final, his fellow Welshman, Matthew Stevens, led him 13-7. But we pick it up with Williams leading 17-16 and within 1 frame of the title.
Six. $27.
Mark Williams had one hand on the trophy there. If that yellow had dropped, it was a great chance.
One. Seven. Eight. $14. Matthew Stevens, 14.
And there's another one of those forcing shots. That's the type of shot that they've been missing in the last 2 frames. And when you're under extreme pressure, it's the type of shot that you just put a little quick one in.
One.
Stevens wondering if he's going to get another chance this year.
9. $16.
The red that's
17.
towards the right cushion Not the right side of the table for Mark, being a left-hander. But he's got close enough to it, and this is looking ominous.
23.
He needs
24.
the black. He needs another red. Doesn't have to worry about position. It's one of those little tricky ones along the cushion.
But that was effectively for the championship. 50 in front, 43 on.
Mark Williams, 32.
Not quite over the line, but just about as certain as you can get. Williams showed amazing resilience to recover, to win by 18 frames to 16. Mark Williams wins a wonderful Embassy World Championship in a wonderful final.
I was in a Chinese restaurant having a meal. A man came up to me and said he was a big snooker fan and his son, a 10-year-old, was keen on the game. Could he come in, have a photograph and an autograph? I said, OK. Boy walked in, cue case bigger than him, eyes wide open. I signed the autograph, we had a photo. I asked him, did he like snooker? He said, yes. I said, you keep on playing, one day you may be as good as me. He walked out, happy as anything. I thought to myself, there's another fan, never see him again. That boy was Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Snooker, it seems, needs a wayward genius somewhere in its ranks, whether it's Alex Higgins, Jimmy White or Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Oh, that's good.
There are similarities which bind these players together. They must play quickly, they must play with flair, they must have a turbulent life off the table. The crowd must love them, they must never consistently fulfil their prodigious talent. In 2001, Ronnie O'Sullivan at last claimed the title which his authentic genius had long suggested would one day be his. He'd made his first century when he was 10, his first maximum in competition when he was 15, but was forced to try to cope with some extraordinary problems, principally that his father was serving a life sentence for murder. He himself was treated at the Priory Clinic for depression. Without such problems, it might not have taken him until he was 26 to become world champion, and he finally did so by beating John Higgins 18-14 in the 2001 final to secure a first prize of £250,000.
It's the red that's next to the black.
40.
Ronnie has to get on it. If he can get the white somewhere over near that white. It wasn't available to the other corner.
46. 47.
It's looking good, but don't hold your breath. Anything can happen.
$54. 55.
So just the yellow, the green and the brown. Ronnie had a quick glance at the scoreboard.
60. 62. 65.
No mistake on what was effectively match ball that time. John Higgins was in first in this fray with 45, but Ronnie O'Sullivan clears up with 80. Ronnie O'Sullivan wins the Embassy World Championship. He beats John Higgins by 18 frames to 14 after a fabulous final to win the £250,000 first prize. Among the obvious threats to O'Sullivan's title defence in 2002, Stephen Hendry wasn't much mentioned.
Never misses a chance to win frame at one visit, and this is a chance.
8.
But when O'Sullivan provoked him in an ill-judged press conference before their semi-final, it hardened Hendry's resolve.
Nine.
What happened in the 2002 World Championship with Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry was Ronnie shouted his mouth off, Stephen kept quiet and got all the respect for it. And I think it was a very sensible move to do. He just let his cue do the talking and really left, in a way, Ronnie with egg on his face. Put pressure on Ronnie by saying the words. Ronnie should, really probably would realise next time round that he didn't do himself any favours. But I thought Stephen Hendry played marvellously throughout the game. And he's still in there fighting after 10 years dominating the game.
There's a hush come over the Crucible Theatre. There's so much pressure on this possible clearance, but the chance
15.
is there.
Well, if this was the first frame, you would think it'd be a certainty.
16.
But this is the frame to get into his 9th World Championship final.
He's already won a record 7. The one he lost was to his good
22.
friend Ken Doherty. Ronnie can't do anything about this. He's got to just hope that Stephen makes a mistake.
He played that last shot with the rest to the inch. Ronnie now knows that
29.
only a little twitch from Stephen Hendry, a pressure shot that he could snatch out. That's the only thing that can stop Hendry clearing
30.
up from here.
Played to perfection.
36.
We've had everything in this match.
38.
Two of the greatest players in the game going head to head with quite a bit of needle. Stephen Hendry was a man
41.
on a mission.
$45.
He's going to
50.
need the black as well. This would put him 7 in front. This has been, in my opinion, one of his greatest performances. An absolutely unbelievable match. A fantastic clearance. Stephen Hendry's in his 9th World Championship final, and the way he played here, who says he won't win it?
Hendry's victory pitted him against a surprise finalist, Peter Ebdon, for the title. Ebdon led 11-6, but it was 12-all going into the final session, with the momentum apparently with Hendry.
one of them, I think, is on to the middle.
In fact, the match ran the full distance of 35 frames into a finish so tense, so dramatic, that it could be compared only with Taylor v Davis in 1985 and Hendry v White in 1994.
It's well wide. It's well wide. Stephen Hendry gets a chance. Lots of pressure, and we were talking about it all the way through, and that's the only reason or excuse I can give for Peter missing that.
Many times under pressure, this young man has cleared to win, but he's never been under this much pressure for quite some time. There's the first one.
One.
Well, if he clears here, John, I just don't know where I can stand the last frame. Peter Ebdon could have just rolled this red in, but you could see straight the way he'd missed it, and you could see almost the confidence drain out of him on that one shot.
Eight.
He's missed it. That could be the end. That could be the end of this match. Referee trying to call for order. This was Stephen's last chance, and he just jawed it. And I think that head down, he realised that that's the end of the match. Peter Ebdon, 24 ahead, 51 remaining. 2 reds, 2 colours would be enough. When he missed that red in the middle, he probably thought, well, have I made the mistake that's going to take it into a deciding frame? And Stephen hangs his head. Dear, dear. How's he missed that? Straight black for the championship.
Thank you.
Can you believe the tension? Well, if Stephen Hendry now was to somehow win this frame, how would Peter Ebdon react after missing that golden opportunity? Will he ever get a better chance than that?
Well, he's played a great shot here, Stephen Hendry. He'll probably try and screw this in for pink or blue. He doesn't want to be playing from black to yellow.
9.
He's betwixt and between. He's not perfect on either. Screw with side, just missed the in off. That's perfect. There's the side. That's perfect.
15.
Up to and including the pink required to take
17.
it to a deciding frame. A few moments ago,
20.
Stephen Hendry was sat in his chair, head bowed. He thought he'd lost the Embassy World title.
$24.
He's perfect on the blue. He needs the blue and pink. And he's still in there with a chance.
$29.
Hendry's made many century breaks to win frames. That 29 break will give him more pleasure than any other break he's ever made. But Peter Ebdon, he had a straight black, he needed the red. After the black, look at this black he missed. A chance to win the championship with black, red, black. There you can see the reaction. He knew that Hendry could clear. He did clear. It's now 17 all, and we're in for a decider.
Didn't even get on your jaws.
Stephen Hendry, 1.
This is the survival of the fittest here.
Gentlemen, please. They're trying to finish a sporting contest. Don't yell out at them. You'll ruin the game. Thank you.
John Williams is trying to get the crowd. I mean, you can't blame the crowd, in fairness. This has got exactly the same as the 85 championship. All of a sudden, there was chances from both players. The tension, it was a really long frame, that 85 final frame. I think this is going to be a long frame now because blue, pink and black are out of commission.
One.
Is he on the pink? He is. What a great shot. The pink's in commission now.
The advantage for Peter Ebdon here is that the pink spot is not available, so the highest available is the
7.
black, and it looks as though it would go in the left corner pocket.
Very rarely do you get 2 bites at the cherry against Stephen Hendry. Ebdon had a chance off the black he missed in the previous frame to win frame and match. This is another chance. Can he take this one?
Eight.